He's located in Davidson, North Carolina, while serving all of North and South Carolina. He is the Mortgage Planner, the Carolina's #1 mortgage radio. Premium lending experience along with mortgage planning. Ranked top in the nation, here is your host, Brad Roche.
All right, let's rock and roll. Welcome to The Plan. This is Brad Roche, the Mortgage Planner, Mortgage Planner University, number 5, episode 5. Jacob, how are you, brother?
Good. I'm doing well. Glad to be back.
We're in the studio, and I'm ready for number 5.
Yes, sir.
Number 5's probably, you remember the one we did, and I said it wasn't that fun?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to trump that, like, boom.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yep. This is probably the most exciting episode yet.
And we're talking about what?
Best deals, worst deals, fun deals.
Yeah.
That we've done.
Like real stuff.
Yeah.
Like I got to tell you, my deepest, darkest real estate and goodies and baddies.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. And you know a lot of them. But first, make sure you go, you got to register for Mortgage Planner University. Go to fortheplan.com. If you need to check it out, you'll get all 6 episodes. And this is number 5. And it's going to be a good one. So also want to draw out attention to summer series lineup. We've got, you want to download that. You're going to get a booklet full of fun summer stuff, home improvement things that we include. You get into a drawing, all kinds of stuff. So go to fortheplan.com for that. Mortgage Planner University is there. If you're an investor near Lake Norman, you can check out the Investor Networking Group coming up on July 25th. And then don't forget to catch us here all the time, every week, right?
Yep. Every week.
So let's dig in. That was a mouthful, man. We got a lot going on this summer. That's good.
Yeah. A lot going on. So be sure to check it all out. I say we start, well, I guess let's say you pick best deals or worst deals. Where do we start?
Oh, come on. Win, lose. Let's go
Yeah.
win, brother. I'll take a win. Let's start this off on a highlight.
I agree. Let's start with the wins. I know you've done a lot, residential fix and flips. You've done long-term buy and holds. So I guess first, I think it's been a hot topic, people asking, fix and flip. A lot of clients calling in right now. Fix and flip seems to be a hot topic. It's where you can make some quick cash, turn around. When we say fix and flip, we mean renovating the house that's somewhat run down and turning it in, what do you say, 60 to 90 days?
That's a big part of it. I had written down a note, time of project is huge on those. So fix and flip, right? You could even take that from walking in and it just stinks. The carpet's old, the wallpaper, paint, and just doing a facelift, right?
Just cosmetics.
Well, and even like you've done in your house, you've redone cupboard, the color of it, and changed up, made it look, all the fixtures you've done, right? So all of that adds up, and it don't have to spend a lot of money for that. So we're talking now, fix and flip would be a piece of junk.
Yeah,
I mean, like
yeah.
a little bit worse than that. I don't consider that what I just talked, like a facelift, what you're doing on your house. I don't consider that a fix and flip. I consider it upgrades, right?
Yeah.
You should do that anyway.
Okay.
So fix and flip, a little different.
So, well, I guess what do you look for when you are looking for a fix and flip for a property to invest in?
Least amount of work, most profit. We're going into it looking for, do I have to, I didn't want to find foundational problems. And let's roll back before we even get into it. How do you get the money to buy these, right?
Yeah.
Because the best way to do it is if the property will pass as like an average condition. An average to you and me, brother, is not what an appraiser thinks, okay? So I've had properties go through fine with dog stains throughout.
Yeah.
And that's kind of crazy if you think about it from a normal perspective. No offense to anybody out there, lets your dog crap all over and not clean it up. However, that's not average people, right?
Yeah.
Average condition. So I'm extreme on that, right? But average is it can be not top quality that you or I would even live in.
So really what you look for is good bones, essentially.
Good bones would be the foundation. I don't want to have any water problems. I don't
Yeah.
want to have a foundational problem. I look at that, and I've taken some risk on those, and they've turned out decent. There's ways to cure any water issues or things like that. Maybe that's the upgrade you're doing in the rehab, adding a French drain or weird things like that modify the property, adding gardening and stuff to make it look more
Okay.
natural. A lot along the lines of that. Fix and flip, though, how do you get the money? Right now, if you come into a mortgage company like us, you're going to get hit on fees because you're doing a fix. Number one, they're going to tell you, are you going to live in it? And then most of the programs out there are designed for you to occupy the property right now. So most of you are not doing that, right? You're an investor. You want to fix and flip it. Well, I'm not moving then. It's a piece of junk. And once I get it done, I want it out of here.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a totally different investment. They don't have a lot of vehicles. If they do, they take a lot of money. Oh, I'll get private money. Cool. They take even more. That's like the mafia, right?
Yeah.
Real close.
That's what I was going to ask. At what point would you consider doing private money?
I wouldn't. HELOC on your primary. You gotta get started. And when you can get to a point where you got 50 to 100 grand of a HELOC you can use to go do it on another property. So you're buying an average piece of junk that passes, isn't good quality. No one would want to rent it for the dollar you want to rent or sell it for the one you want to sell it for. But if you put in the elbow grease and do some things that you do on the house to make it more appealing, it's more rentable, more sellable, more desirable.
Okay.
You see, so then HELOC is the easiest money. Why? Because then I can get an average loan, 20% down. You get an average, it's average condition, right? We're talking average to an appraiser. Makes you question where they live, right?
That's a good point.
Like they call it average. It's like, where do you live, buddy? I see the pictures in there. That's nasty. But that we're off topic. But equity line plays a big part in you getting started in investment, especially if you want to flip. Why? Because I'd get a conventional loan, 20% down, decent rate, try and do an ARM, low cost, have the seller pay cost, negotiate, right? Then I'd use my HELOC money to rehab it.
Yeah.
Because then I'm not paying through the nose or even having private money or trying to find a harder product to fund this.
True.
HELOC, fund the repairs through the HELOC.
So
get a normal loan.
The HELOC is a cheaper option all around.
Oh, you bet. Interest only. You borrow off the hip, right? 50 grand, $200 a month.
Yeah.
So you're borrowing the money cheap, especially if you're going to flip it.
And you can pay interest only on those too.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
That's the cheap way you got to get rolling though. So I want to buy a fix and flip. Where do you live? I'm making that funny voice because if you're renting that, you're off to a bad start. It makes it hard.
Yeah.
Why not buy a house, grab 60 grand in equity, living there 2 years and be able to go?
Yeah, true. Okay. So using the HELOC or the home equity line of credit to fund,
which is on your primary. So you got to get started, get your primary.
And it's cheaper on that as well. So, I mean,
the loan is cheaper if it even exists for you.
Yeah.
Right. As an investor to fix and flip loans, they rip you off and we've offered it. They're a rip off loan. I don't think it's a great loan.
Yeah.
Why? A lot of fees, private money, a lot of fees. So if you can fund it and do normal, you win.
So even
more profit.
The way we're talking investor, but out there, I mean, I think you've done one in the past, but there's 203K FHA, which is taken, is it 35,000 that you can take cash out?
Primary residence,
yeah.
Though.
So that's another avenue I want to go down. Have you ever, I mean, I thought you had told me in the past.
I've originated a ton of 203Ks and no, I haven't done that personally.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Not that I remember doing, no. I've done a lot of deals, but not because it was owner occupied. Normally I'd use my own, like I'm talking about, using my own cash. Why? See, you got to understand, if you're fixing and flipping, you're out to make a profit. So time of project, how we started this segment, is a big deal. You brought that up. How long do you expect? Man, I want to get in and out as quick as I can. Why?
Yeah.
Less carrying cost.
Yeah.
Period. That's it.
So on these fix and flip loans, are they typically short term?
They should be, yeah. The 30-year, no, if you do it the way I'm saying, you're going to get a 30-year fixed on the first, use your own money. You can have it forever if you want it on the HELOC.
Yeah. I think that's a common way or that's what we recommend to most of our clients. But I think a lot of people call in asking about a fix and flip loan
because they don't have the equity line set up and they're not in a position. It's a ripoff. They're going to get ripped off trying to skip a beat.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I was getting at. Right. I mean, some of these questions that I'm asking you, I do know the answer. So for the viewers out there, I do know the answer.
We're going to go deeper. I'm going to get you to where you don't know a couple of these. We keep going on
exactly.
So we're going to take a break where you're listening to The Plan, Mortgage Planner University, episode 5. And talking about rehab, you hit me right off the bat with fix and flips, and that's pretty good. We're going to get going into some other stuff here on some different new construction I want to discuss and how we keep rolling. We'll take a quick break. You're listening to The Plan. Welcome back to The Plan. This is Brad Roche and Jacob Roche, the Mortgage Planner, 704-412-2727 or go 8554-THE-PLAN. You getting all that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Got it down.
ForThePlan.com. Check out all of it. We're Mortgage Planner University, number 5, and digging into the best and worst deals. What do you want to do now?
Yep. So back
fix and flip. You went right there. All right.
It's such a hot topic. I wanted to talk on that for a bit.
Use your money if you can.
Yeah.
We'll end it there. We got more advice. You can go to ForThePlan.com, schedule a time, discuss it with myself or Jacob, and we'll get you in the right plan.
Yeah. Sounds good. And so I going right back into your best deals that you've had. I want to talk on new construction a little bit. You've bought land, you cleared it, put in roads, put in really everything, drainage on the sidewalks, things like that. And then built it from the ground up. So buying land, I guess we'll start there. So what do you look for? Well, I guess, can you give a little backstory on what you've done? And
Well, we got yes. So we're digging. Okay, so
Yeah.
we're gonna go new. So buying land, on some of these deals that where you can make good money, right? So some of the best deals is where you can make good money. Well, if you're buying land, like I'll take a project I had did that was called Huntington Hills, and it was 50 acres. I had a real estate license at the time, so I used my commission, some cash, and also brought in a partner under an LLC operating agreement where he owned part as well. We did the project together to purchase it. So in that project, though, as I designed the road to come off the main drag, right? There's a road coming off. It left a little road frontage on the main drag that we could cut off and put 3, 4, 5 houses there. I believe it was 5. Well, we kept those off the project, and I was able to keep that land free and clear after using my commission, a partner's investment, and going into the whole project. And from there, we got approval on the loan. Why? Because we were able to build 5 houses on the main drag at 500,000 apiece. We own the land free and clear, which was about 80,000. You run this math, and I know I'm speaking quickly, but when the land's free and clear and you got 80,000, you got a builder investor with you, and you're building a $500,000 house making $80,000. You've now made about 140,000 roughly just turning one spec home on land that because it was free and clear. So 130 times 5. Well, now I've got a heck of a deal to go putting the roads in for that part of the development. So I learned quickly that in order to jump, you needed the equity line to be able to leverage some of the money, like I talked last segment. But also, I took in partners that would help with some of the cash investments that were needed.
Yeah. Okay.
Through
Yeah.
an LLC operating agreement, they would own it. I was the operating agreement of many of them, meaning in control of it, but they would invest their dollars, and you can point that out in an operating agreement.
Okay. And
Official stuff.
yeah, have it in writing. So I guess that brings me into my next. How did you utilize the LLCs? And I guess what were they for? Things like that.
LLCs are different. We got to a point where we had too many. I don't think you need I learned you don't need as many as I carried. I would get one every time I wanted to buy something. It felt like, and after a while, I found that when you're doing taxes, you're paying a good chunk each LLC. So tax bill wise, it's like $15,000, $20,000 just to file because they're all different companies. So one of my companies I think you can use as as your main company. And as you develop partners, that's when I think it would be more of it. That's how I would do it now. As I got partners, I would branch off my main LLC and go into another one with a partner. Like if I had my own LLC, which I do, and you wanted to buy a house, I would have my LLC invest with you, and you would be a partner in the new LLC with me, and that would all funnel back to my company.
And creating an
My half.
operating agreement
Yeah.
to show the share.
Spells all the terms. You can involve an attorney, or you can outline them yourself. It's dollars invested.
Okay.
And controlling is what a big part is, whether it's mine or yours or ours, and how it's voting.
Okay. Well,
Sets the rules.
yeah, that makes sense. Well, how about well, we talked about buying land and the developments that you had done that Huntington Hills neighborhood. What would you say that is your best deal that you've done, or
No, surprisingly, I asked Angela, right, my wife, your mom. I said, "Hey, what's the best deal you think we've done?" As we go back, and it was a second home in Florida. You've been there many times. In fact, you had a weird Christmas there because we were from in the snow to sunning in Florida during Christmas time. But that deal, we bought it right. I had a partner on that same thing, LLC. And we both paid half the payment. We both enjoyed it half the year, and it was never really rented or occupied. Went up tremendous amount of value because of the location, and because of splitting the payment, we could both carry it and rent it sometimes.
Wow.
And we got to use it for benefits of family and work associates going as well. So it became a great return. Probably listen, an investment, if I can go out there and enjoy it and hang out remember going there?
yeah, of
Right. I
course.
mean, right. So we had great times there.
Yeah.
So not only was it a great investment for time, but also the return on the money that I had. So a second home, like if you're listening to this and saying, well, fix and flip might be a little too much, and LLCs and all this, well, maybe it's a second home on the beach. And if you're looking at, prices have gone up, maybe you do it with another family, a member or partner that you buy the property together.
Yeah. I do want to highlight that your best investment wasn't rented out. It was strictly from appreciation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
We bought it right. We sold it right. And we used it right.
Yeah. Never rented out. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So strictly off appreciation. That's huge.
Yeah, there's a good note, right? You'd
Yeah.
think it'd be cash flow and some other things like that, but no, that was one of them. And the developments would be right up there with it, because when you can cut it up and charge more per piece,
Yeah.
you're buying a whole piece of property for $500,000, let's say, but you can cut it up into 25 of them for $40,000. Run the math. you're going to make a profit. Well, then you have to deduct the roads. You have to deduct whether you're
Yeah.
running the plumbing and things like that or below. That all has to take into account, and you negotiate all those things. Well, when there's leftover land, because I didn't tell you about the commercial part of that project, and we do have more of this information on an investment segment. We do, right? So
Yep.
I'm covering a high end view of this, but you can check out another investment property seminar. That's at fortheplan.com. I go into deeper into the developments on that actually. But that's the return is when you can cut it up and charge more and keep some that was free and clear.
Yeah.
And there's several. I've helped several clients do that locally. Some of my best clients I've helped locally split a piece of land off, own it free and clear, and do some other things, and be able to leverage it, sell it, and use the cash to invest in another way.
Yeah. Yeah. We just did one not too
Crazy.
long ago, and yeah, that's cool.
We slow down at the office too. We're on a timer here, so I'll slow down at the office if you check it, where we walk through your individual case, right? But it's like you got to break down what's the property that plays a big part. It just
Yeah.
does.
And well, so you had mentioned that you left some land over, so you had the development in the back with the houses there. Roads are all in at this point. What did you do with the rest of the land? You said you did some commercial there.
Commercial there. I'm going to have you pause on the commercial piece because I actually did it here on a house that we purchased.
Okay.
And it came with 3 other lots on the side of it. And then when I bought the home, they had all the house and lot A, B, and D listed with it. And the house went over a little bit on D. So you really got 2 lots. The house is sitting on 2 other lots. It all came as a package deal. When I purchased it, they all had separate legal descriptions. I excluded those lots
Okay.
from my purchase. I said, I want to buy just lot D and E, right? The other 2, or C and D rather, the 2 with the house on it,
Yeah.
as my purchase. And these other 2 that have nothing on it and they're legal separations on them, right? Legal descriptions. I want to have those free and clear. So I bought those for $1
Okay.
legally. And then so I owned them with no debt on it. So if I wanted to sell just that lot off, I took all the encumbrance on the main property. I now could sell those at 20 grand a piece
Yeah. Wow.
if I wanted to, or perk them to build and make options that way. That's where you can get creative. So road frontage, right, is something I would look for in investment when you're doing land, because if you can cut it up more, like a lot of guys will have 20 acres. What if you got a line of 20 acres going along one road? You cut off 5 or 10 on the front, you can make several lots, and you're running.
Yeah, and then you still have some acreage in the back too.
Most of it.
Yeah.
Most of it. That's where the return can come in, or
Yeah.
you keep it for yourself, whatever the project may be.
Okay.
But commercial, you were going down
Oh, yeah.
commercial. round.
Commercial.
Yeah, so we've owned several commercial properties, best deals. What's interesting with that is we've rented from ourselves. We've purchased land from ourselves, and I said, let me explain that. So one LLC, I might be a partner with you, but then I might have another partner over here that wants to actually rent and run the business. So we had breakfast places. One guy was a partner who rented a building that we built, right?
Yeah.
So I'm doing business with myself, even though I have different partners in there. So this guy would pay rent, and we made profit off of that. And when he purchased the property or things, we would make profit off of that.
Yeah, and that's where you saw most of the tax benefits there.
Yeah, and doing business with yourself is kind of weird, or other partners, but
Yeah.
it works. It works. So commercial wise, I think that's the first one to hurt in a bad market. I think that's
Yeah.
where you can get hurt worse, especially now, COVID wise, things are a lot different because people can work so remote all the time.
Yeah, commercial
And
space.
technology is a lot better to be able to do remote.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I don't know as though that would be where I'd go as starting out. I think later as you go. Now, property I built, how'd I get into commercial? Property we had built in the back had commercial frontage. And we had built our office building and built some other property strip malls up there and had a cigar shop and
Yeah.
breakfast places and things that were phenomenal.
Yeah. So it's just unoccupied land zoned as commercial. So you figured, let's put something there.
And when we put
Fair
the
enough.
road in the back, down the road, we were able to keep that commercial free and clear. So when I sold it to myself to build the property, I made money.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
It does it. It's get complicated. I know that listening. It's almost like a puzzle, but the more you learn, the more you know, and how you can get things done. That's where you can make money.
Yeah.
And you also earn a reputation for how you're handling the project.
True.
Consulting, and that's part of what we can help you with. So if you have a project, go to fortheplan.com. Check us out there. What else you got, brother? We
Well,
got some good stuff going.
I was thinking in terms of like building, like how you were saying that you were back building those neighborhoods or even the commercial. What's the cost to it? Like, how does that work payment wise?
For if you were to build a house or as a developer?
As a personal, we'll start there.
If you build a house. So you're usually going to buy the land as part of the loan. So you would come to us, get pre-approved. You'd come to yourself, get pre-approved.
Yeah.
And so let's just say $300,000 approval with 20% down. You get your approval done. We send that over to the construction department, basically, or a local community bank could do this part where they're going to give you the construction loan. Now you put your 20% in first. So you go to closing, right? So you get approved. I'm going to back up. You get approved. You're going to take your money when you say, oh, I found this house. Now we're going to assume that it's just vacant land to start and you've picked out plans and they call it specs, plans and specifications for what you want to build. You can find a lot of those online. You can purchase $1,000 blueprint of a house plan. If you search blueprint houses, you can find a bunch of them that you can purchase, and then you have the rights to go build that, right? They're giving you every detail of the house. And you can have an architect locally make changes to it. That's a lot we did with that and looking at things from that side. So construction-wise, when you get to the construction loan, you're building in. So we got to take a break, though, because I hear the music coming. I'll get into how the draws work and how you make the offer on the land when we get back. Welcome back to The Plan. This is Brad Roche, Jacob Roche, the Mortgage Planner, 704-412-2727, or go direct to the website fortheplan.com. You're going to find everything we're talking about today on there. And we were left off on doing some draws. So if you were to get a construction loan, you get approved for the 30-year money. We help with that. Then you go make an offer on raw land once you have a builder and those plans picked out. So you have to have plans and specs. Why? Because this is what I want to put where I find it. And sometimes they have the land first. Sometimes you pick the house first.
Okay. So that's what I was going to ask. So do you have to own the land before? Is that in addition to your 20% down?
No, you don't have to own the land. When you make your offer on that, you'll put down your earnest money and that thing on the land, right? Then the bank is going to issue what's called the first draw.
Okay.
In that will be your first 20% coming to the table. And then any leftovers to get the project started, whether it be framing or leftover land part, depending on what the sale price is, that's all going to happen in that first draw so they can get started.
Okay.
But your 20% goes in first when you make that offer on the land. And you got 6 months to a year to build it.
So technically, I mean, you're financing the land too.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you don't need
or
the land.
A portion of it. Yeah.
You could have the land picked out, already owned, free and clear if you wanted.
Yes.
Okay.
And you could actually use that equity to get into the new construction without writing a check.
As your 20%. Your 20. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool. All right. Well, good deal. I wanted to ask. So we just went. If we're going personal, so you built a whole neighborhood. What's the difference?
Different, and you respect a lot of homes. We put them up without a buyer, and we got to pick out a lot of stuff. It was very fun.
Yeah, it makes it fun
doing. And we were able to offer a discount on the mortgage. I helped with the real estate side, and I was involved in the construction. As we went through that, that was wonderful for our business because we had a product as well, houses that we had out right by our office, and they were good price range. And the construction piece, building that, you have to get a I want to call it reputation, right? Or lines of credit where banks they're comfortable with your business, not just your company. So remember these LLCs we're talking about, if they're not doing any cash flow or making any money from projects you're doing, well, then that's not strong books, right? Unless you're personally that strong. So it's having a relationship with a community bank helps a lot of getting in the right position to do construction loans if you want to be the investor on it.
Yeah.
But you got to have some money in the game. Like right now, if you were to go do it, I'd say you need about 40% down.
Oh, wow.
And you might be able to spec the house. Why? Because it's less risk to the bank.
So, and now this is doing as an investor.
As an investor, yeah.
Okay. I just want to clarify for everybody out there. Okay. Well, we don't do those commercial deals there. However, we can help with it. So I guess we could go into what's your most fun project you've had?
Fun project. Let's see. I would say it's the businesses that we owned inside the real estate that we either built or purchased. And I enjoyed the breakfast place. I had a breakfast place that was fun to go to, little greasy spoon up front. And when we went to the back, it was like a cowboy nightclub. You remember it vaguely, probably.
Yeah.
But it turned good profit and the bill was cheap for the real estate. Like we were making good money paying a fat rent to ourselves because the restaurant did so well.
I think oftentimes people don't really think about the inside of it all.
You know what I like about, I'd say favorite project though, it comes down to seeing a vacant land where the whole neighborhood and commercial project is there now.
Yeah.
It's neat. You're like the development I did first, there's Jacob Circle.
Yeah.
Right, that's named after you. That's neat. That's my favorite project. And then I got Bradley Boulevard for your brother. It's like when you can put your fingerprint on something, that's pretty neat in an investment side. So I love to be able to, even if you've got small acreage, being able to put something or cut it a different way or just be able to look at it different. So I think you get an eye for that, how to look at land or a purchase like that differently.
Yeah. Driving by it every day, you get to pass by. It used to be woods, nothing. Then you
Yeah,
get to
right.
drive by and it's everything you've put together.
Well, even going on Google Earth and seeing
Yeah.
it like, wow, this is looking pretty cool.
Yeah, it's still there.
Very cool.
Yeah. Well, I guess that can bring us into. Well, actually, I wanted to touch on one more topic. One thing that you've done in the past, and that was the condo development. And we lived in those for a short period of time right before we moved to North Carolina. But those were probably one of my favorite. We lived in a lot of big houses, but the condos were the coolest, I thought.
Those were fun.
Yeah.
What's the question on?
So I guess from that standpoint, and for those listening, what it is it was called
City View.
City View. Sorry, and that was condos all put together. How many was it?
We did 5 in one part, right? So they're like connected buildings, and we did that. It was cheaper. It was easier to build on the hill. This is why we did it. It was than doing single family houses, right? Didn't have much land. That was part of it. Like we had 5 acres that was on a hill where the other one was like 30 acres where you would normally do a neighborhood. Well, this was different. It was on a hill for one and 2 less land so that we compacted them together and you actually save money as a builder because the walls are joining. You're not doing as much.
Oh, wow.
Not a ton and not in a wow. Of just, oh, that's nice.
Okay.
It was good, but not that great. But it did make a benefit there, sure.
Yeah. Okay. So
Different kind of loan through the bank though, too.
yeah. And well, what do you mean by that?
Well, you're getting a loan to build 5 different condos, right? So there'd be 5. I'm building one project, but there's 5 units in it technically, right? So what if you come up and buy one? How do I get out of that? How do I sell it to you? So there was what's
Oh, I
called a
see.
release premium, right? There's a release on that for what you owe again on the land of what the value is. And when you sell one off, there's a calculation they do based on what you loan to value they want.
Oh, and then paying
So
it
you
down
know
from
the
there.
release. Like when I did one development, hey, every time you sell one of these for $50,000, you need to pay it down. You owe us 20.
Oh,
That was
okay.
my release. Lot release is what that was called.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Similar. So as you peel one off, and that's a good way to do it.
And those were, I mean, you sold those right away. You didn't hold and
We
lease
actually
those?
we rented a couple of them as well. We've
Oh,
done
okay.
both. A lot of the projects I wasn't geared to necessarily have to. If I did a fix and flip, I didn't care if it sold.
Yeah.
I mean, I wanted to sometimes, especially if it was fat. Like I'm making 80 grand, but fix and flips don't pay that well. New construction pays better than that.
Okay.
Fix and flip depends on the price range. If you're flipping something for 100 grand, you're not going to make 80 grand. Geez, what'd you do to it?
Yeah. True.
You know what I'm saying? You built another one on top of it.
Yeah, some
and,
serious
and you
upgrades.
changed the neighborhood. What'd you do?
Yeah.
You're only going to make 100 grand. You're going to make 20 to be nice, 20% return. And you might not even have to put that in there.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've asked you that before. New construction over a fix and flip every day?
Yeah, because
Most
it's
times.
no problems,
Yeah.
right? You run into crap on fix and flips.
Yeah, true.
One of my worst deals was a 2-unit I did. I ran into wiring problems, cost me an extra 15,000 on a 200 grand project. It's too much money.
Yeah.
That's why when we went back to time of project, that all weighs in. All this stuff are line items into getting these stuff done.
So I guess what point would you look at renting or selling?
I didn't care.
Oh,
I didn't care because I liked the cash flow. And I would, if it was fat, I would want to sell it if I had another project I wanted to go into. But at that time, I was looking to get a bunch of them paid off and have some good cash flow coming in that would be passive income.
yeah. Okay. And I mean, did you ever do? I know the BRRRR method or the BRRR,
Which is what for people listening and older people like me.
buy, renovate, refi, and repeat. I believe it is.
Well, it's hard to do that, right? So it's realistically, it's not hard. But yeah, if I fixed it up, could I refinance it and pull cash out or get an equity line on it and go do the next project? That's kind of the same thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I like to be able to rent them. I never had a problem renting houses. Couple projects, I had a problem getting the money, and it was usually lower end housing.
Yeah. Okay.
So where are you investing? If you're investing in $300,000 to $400,000 rentals, we have people coming into North Carolina buying $400,000 rentals now, and they have good tenants. They're just not ready to buy. We moved here, and I would be a good tenant. I just wasn't ready to buy.
Yeah, that's fair. So you would, okay.
Better appreciation too.
Yeah,
Better quality person paying the bill and taking care of the home, possibly.
that's true. Okay, that makes sense. Well, I guess we can probably go into I guess we could take a minute, but I guess we'll go into your worst deals next when we come back on the air.
Worst deals. We've got a couple of them, and I think you'll be surprised when we talk about this because you'd actually think it'd be like, whoa, no way, really? That's the bomb, man. That's really good. And then for me to turn around and tell you, no, man, no, that was actually really bad, and it didn't turn out as well as I thought. Not the whole thing, but just portions of it. So we're going to be right back. We're going to take a quick break, but a couple things. Summer lineup, don't forget about that. We've got Summer Series 2024 Mortgage Planner University, which we are in number 5. We've got case studies that we have posted all through the university, as well as when you become a client, all you got to do is do some of this stuff I'm telling you to. Sign up for Summer Series, get into Mortgage Planner University, come to Lake Norman Investor Networking. You are welcome to the family. And then we welcome you in, and you get all kinds of stuff to manage your mortgage. So if you don't have software doing that for you now, man, go to For the Plan. Let's get one. We'll see you in just a few minutes. Welcome back to The Plan. This is Brad Roche, the mortgage planner, joined with Jacob Roche, the mortgage planner, and we are doing best and worst deals and talking shop. A lot of rehab, a lot of construction we've gotten into. And second home, I mentioned, was one of my best deals, as we're going through this. So kind of some interesting stuff. Now, you wanted to dig into worst deals.
Yep.
Worst deals. So let me tell you, with all that we had going on with a couple banks, right? They would call and offer things like they would say, hey, we have a property that the bank is taking back.
Now, not every bank does this. This is because you, like you were saying last segment, good relationship, right?
Yeah, and we had one, right?
Yeah.
I would always refer them. I took care of them by sending clients their way to do checking, savings, cars. Use this bank, and they took care of me from being a good customer of theirs too, and I had a reputation for being able to make money on the real estate. So I earned it over time, and the LLCs were producing some cash, right? So part of it was they would, a couple times, this actually 2, they called and said, hey, we got houses that we want you to have. Not have, they weren't going to give them to me, but there was roughly about 15, 20 houses. I don't even remember the total. It was that many. And they were going to say, hey, here's all of them for $1 million. And we'll give you the mortgage.
No down payment?
No down payment.
Wow.
What interest rate? 4.5, 5. It wasn't bad. Interest only.
Yeah.
Pay what you want, do what you can.
Right before we got off last segment, you said these sound like a lot of wows.
Yeah.
And that isn't wow. You don't.
Zero down, 15,
zero down.
20 properties.
Yeah.
Crazy, right?
That is.
Yeah, and included a car wash next to Taco Bell. Not kidding you. Why is that funny? Just because that's good real estate. What do you think, Taco Bell? What do you think?
I know how you are with your car washes, and you always got a clean car.
Well, it's just like Taco Bell, man. I'm buying good real estate. So that was part of the deal. It was one of those where nobody had to man it. So I'm like, oh, this would be easy.
Yeah.
Worst part of that deal. I was good at real estate, flipping the houses. I was good at that. Stay in your lane, man. That's what I tell you.
Not a car wash mechanic.
Expand your lane, but stay in your lane, right? You can always keep expanding, like development, new construction went into developing and things like that. But car wash, it was still real estate. Commercial's a different animal. I wasn't a fix-it guy, and it cost me $5,000 to $7,000. I remember it every month in repairs. And it's like you can't wash that many cars to do that.
Yeah, it's hard to
But
keep.
it came with the deal, brother.
Yeah,
It sounded really cool. I was like, whoa, a car wash too? I was pretty excited. It's
Yeah, that's fair.
Stupid, but I was. You would too. Hey, I want this. This next Taco Bell's. I'm going to get free car wash out of this deal. I don't even have to put any money down.
Yeah,
Sweet deal.
when it works, right?
When it works. So that was one we sold. I don't even know if I made any money on that.
So I was going to ask, since you got the car wash. The car wash didn't work out for you, but you got 20 other houses.
I lost money on the car wash because of how much it cost to fix, and half of the houses were vacant because they took them back from another guy, so they were vacant, and I had to rent them out, and some of them needed work. They were smaller houses, so they were easy to fix, easy to clean up and dial in pretty quick, and you put a sign in the yard, and we had enough advertising that we could do even in the newspaper at that time that worked real easy.
Okay.
Internet stuff. You could do it. You could get a house rented pretty quick. Sign in the yard's easy.
Yeah.
Helps a lot. People, oh wow, that's for rent. You see them yourself.
That's true.
Yeah,
you're right.
like the neighborhood. So that was number one way to rent them.
So while you lost money on the car wash, you said you probably would have broke even thereabout with the other properties, or
no? I made money out of them. I got out of a bunch of those because we fixed them up, and they were lower quality. The properties were just tougher rental properties, and so it was harder to collect the rent. It'd be the easiest way to say it. So
Okay.
we ended up selling those as quick as we could.
Okay.
But we made out okay. I don't think I made a bunch of money from that, no.
Okay.
And that's why it was more, when you say what's your best, worst deal, right? Best and worst, time and money.
Yeah.
Time and money. I spent a lot of time on all that crap, and I didn't make any money doing that.
Well,
The car wash and all that. Oh, cool. No money. I didn't make anything, but a lot of time driving to those properties that didn't turn a lot of money, and they weren't great quality property, but zero down.
yeah.
So you think you get excited?
That is exciting. I would be excited.
Don't. You learn from
Yeah, I'm
learn.
learning from you. That's why I'm here. But I was gonna say, assuming cash, I would have thought that would have been the worst move. But being time to being the worst move on that car
Took
wash.
me off what I was good at.
Yeah.
The car wash did. Yeah, that was a big part. And then we got into the other deal was another bank called Zero Down, and a different bank. And they said, hey, we have a property. And it was a golf course, and it was a failing golf course. They ran the restaurant and the bar section wrong, but this was also in Michigan, so it was 18-hole course that wasn't open all year either. And they didn't run it right. And because of that, so they said, hey, do you want to get in on it? Well, sure. Well, who's the current partner was the golf head pro. So getting into the deal, I needed someone to know golf. So I kept him on. That was a mistake. He already had dropped the ball on this project, right? So I kept something bad in the deal that I probably should have eliminated or thought twice. Now, what happened with it was other property came around the course that I could build in, where I was good at.
Yeah.
You see, you end up taking, I guess where I'm coming from with this point is you end up taking on the leftovers that you think may sound really cool. I learned they're not so cool because they weren't in my lane or I wasn't good at it. Or maybe that just part of that deal wasn't good, right? But it was more, I was doing construction and new stuff. So it was like, stay in that part of it. I did better in it.
Do you think you took that deal because of the extra land around the golf
No,
course?
I think I took that deal and the other one with the car wash because of ego, if you must be honest.
Because you like getting your car washed?
Zero down and they're calling me, hey, you can fix this. Yeah, I can fix it. And not everything's fixable. How much can you take on to?
Yeah.
And we were taking on quite a bit. We were busy, working a lot. But it's how much can you take on? And I would have, if I wanted to do it to redo it over, right? Okay, would I still have done it? Probably. I wasn't old and I wanted to just keep going. I would have negotiated different with the bank. Like they called up and who had the problem?
The bank. For sure.
I did not. I had
Yeah.
no problem. They're calling me. Do you want something zero down? I didn't have a problem.
Yeah.
They have a problem. Well, why, if they came at me, why didn't I? And I don't remember doing this. And I'll say diligently, like not enough to burn a memory. Like, wow, I really worked that deal out good when they called. I don't have any recollection of that. That's what I want. That's
Yeah.
what I would have wanted because I could have worked them for maybe a lesser interest rate, maybe a softer term, maybe a shorter price. A lot of things. What could have I done? I don't know, but I would have put a little bit. Don't rush. Don't rush into it. I think I rushed too quick if I say it the way I'm saying it now.
Okay. That was my next question. What would you have done different? So
Yeah.
maybe, yeah, okay.
I remember I had a deal at the table, and it was my company was doing it, and the guy had asked me to personally guarantee it as well. And I said, no problem. I said, that's fine. We're already here. We were working on this project for 3 months and I did it and I shouldn't have done it. It was at the closing, but I wanted it done. Made a wrong decision. That cost me money later on the deal.
Okay.
Didn't go well. He got irritated. I got irritated and we end up, and I personally guarantee it. So I'm looped into any arguments that go in.
So what you would have done different is renegotiate in more favorable terms to yourself to put you in the driver's seat, really.
Be more strong. Yeah. You said
Yeah.
it right.
Okay.
Be stronger and be able to walk away.
Okay.
And sometimes as you're going, certain deals, I would have prayed more on some deals too. I think some of them I jumped in too quick. I would have listened to your mom a little bit more on a couple of deals. There's a lot of good counsel around, I would have slowed down some, and I think you can get excited getting into some deals. Don't bite off more than you can chew. And cash is king. More cash you have, the less issues you have, and watch the partners you bring in. If it was a turd already, why would I make, you can't make a turd a tulip. That's what my dad told me, right?
Yeah.
That's
true.
the bad golf course. Now I made money. We turned that bar. We turned that restaurant. It went fantastic. We actually were bringing in $30,000 without even doing any golf per month.
Yeah. Wow.
However, the golf side wasn't being ran properly either. The grounds weren't being done right. He's there all day. I'm not. I'm not pointing fingers. I jumped in and I took the ownership of it. But you got to have, you can't take that turd and do a tulip. That means watch the partners and watch what you're taking. I left part of the stank in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't mean him. I mean the way it was done. And when I'm getting into it, I'd want to run it my own way.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Well, I guess based off you saying that, what was the the goal there? Like, what was the goal in investing in these two places? Was the goal to get more residential, or was the goal cash flow, appreciation?
I thought I could flip with the car wash one. I thought I could flip those deals pretty quick. Like I thought I could flip those houses pretty good. Plus, I also thought the car wash would pay out really good.
Yeah.
Like it was in a good location. I thought it would pay out good because of its activity, but I didn't take into account how massive. I took into account repairs, not how massive they can get.
Okay. Yeah. And yeah, no.
So that let me point this out for the rehab. Remember when we were talking about this? A lot of the guys who do rehabs also say I can do the rehab work. I'm tying this into the whole car wash thing of having to hire out the work. They go into the house and I'm going to rehab this and do all the work myself, and they budget it that way. And I think that's a mistake. You should budget it if you were going to do it for someone else and charge them a fee because you need to have a fatter accounting in that allowance of the number to rehab.
Fluff the numbers up a little bit more.
Well, it's not fluffing, it's reality. So the point is, if you're going to rehab that house and you get hurt, you shoot the little staple gun into your foot, you're out for 2 weeks. I said time of the project is key to this. You can't hire nobody because you didn't put enough money aside for the project. Boom, you're out. You just blew a couple grand. Easy.
True.
So if you price that in, you've got some allowance. You might have electrician issue, right, that I had mentioned in one of the other projects. So yeah, you can call it fluff. I call it reality.
Yeah. Well, I guess quick before we end the show here, I was wondering what those are. So worst commercial deals. What's
the free ones?
Worst? Yeah, right.
No, all the deals that were bad were too good to be true. Imagine that. Isn't that funny?
So what would you say your worst residential move was?
Worst residential move. Oh yeah, because those are commercial. We over improved a house.
Okay.
Stone Jug. If you probably even remember that, because we had that sucker for a long time. Couldn't get rid of it for like 6 years.
I think I remember that.
We rented it, wrote a check to even rent it. It was just bad. We over improved it. We got too excited on the overdoing the house for the location it was in. Like, know your neighborhood.
Yeah, that's good to know. As I moved into my neighborhood, I started to do a lot of repairs and things like that, thinking of maybe changing the floors out, things like that. But a realtor that I work with, she had mentioned, just don't over improve.
Because you can, now there's enjoying your house, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but don't over improve it. And I did that on a couple projects. I wanted it, I don't know, learning. I learned.
Yeah.
I think you have to take into account what average quality is and do above that. I'm not saying to be below average, but take into account and watch your pennies. Don't overdo it.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
We're out of time. This has been
I know,
good.
that
Did I
went-
give you enough worse than good? We could go on for quite a while on this.
It went quick. I learned a lot here.
Well, listen, if you like the investor side of this, you can go to fortheplan.com and check out the investor seminar series that's available, plays on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Go check out For the Plan. Jacob and Brad, we're out. See you next week.
See ya.